How you doing? My name is Saleem. I'm a communications major. I'll be reading you my research essay from English class. The research question I gathered after reading the Marian Kaba essay was, should the police really be defunded? Also, would it affect the public in a positive or a negative impact? I think it is very important that we take a look at the many injustices that the minority communities are facing and have been facing, especially now more than ever. This topic creates a strong appeal for pathos for me. With the many injustices we see from police brutality and the corruption specifically minorities face in the world, it honestly hurts my heart. Seeing George Floyd neck get nailed on for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, even not feeling safe in your own home because the cops can break in and kill you if you want to take a look at the Breonna Taylor situation. Sandra Bland, even if you can take a look at where she knew her rights and was clearly being harassed by the officer, was later killed in their possession. No one talks about most of the injustices, and if they do, they only get talked about momentarily. If it's in the popular, then quickly forget about the situation. With that being said, I think we should abolish the police. I don't think it would affect us negatively. In fact, I think it would affect us positively. Positive effects such as if the police are defunded, that particular city has more money to put into other things. Back a long time ago, most people don't know that gangs were originally made in every specific neighborhood, not for violence, but for or other reasons as you see today, but for neighborhood watch. People in the neighborhood wouldn't have to worry about getting robbed or other things of that nature because the people in your communities were protecting you. If people in their respective neighborhoods were able to trust people in their communities again like before, this would be a replacement to the cops in the neighborhoods. We can even come up with some sort of voting plan, background checks to elect people so they could be the official elected neighborhood watch team. When I say abolish the police, I'm not talking about fully abolish, just heavily defund. I don't mean the FBI or the cops agents. I'm speaking on the cops that's driving around, pulling citizens over, and things of that nature. You get robbed, you call someone in the neighborhood watch team in your community and tell them, and they come get the info, and they'll bring it to the cops at the station, and they can handle it from there. Then the huge problems can be solved by the FBI and the rest of higher ups. I don't believe crime will escalate if you really think about it. The crime rate isn't determined by who the police is, it is determined by who is in the community that could potentially commit that crime. Cops aren't always in the exact spot of the crime happening, maybe because the city may be too big to cover all at once. And it doesn't make sense to hold the cops to a standard of being there when a crime happens. With the team of the community watch member, they're closer to your home because they're designated to that specific part of the city. In the Kaba essay, it states there is not a single era in United States history in which the police were not a force against black people. We can go down the list of names that were killed by the police force, fairly popular household names: Rashard Brooks, Philando Castro, Alton Sterling, Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, just to name a few. The sad part is that's not even half the list dating back from 2 years ago. Yes, there will be murders. Yes, there may be some sort of citizen altercation that results in a death, but the way they happen to minorities specifically is inexcusable. You can also date back to the Rodney King situation. For some reason, it's almost like the minority community is looked at as a threat amongst police officers. Their slogan is to protect and serve, but I think I speak for all minorities when I say we don't feel protected. As I said earlier, losing police officers will not necessarily hurt our communities because their day-to-day jobs doesn't consist of catching crimes. Kaba mentions in his essay they spend most of their time responding to noise complaints, issuing parking tickets and traffic citations, and dealing with other non-criminal issues. We've been taught to think they catch the bad guys, they chase bank robbers, they find serial killers, said Alice Vitale, the coordinator of the Police and Social Justice Project at Brooklyn College. In an interview with Jacob Colin, this is a big myth, he said. The vast majority of police officers make one felony arrest a year. If they make two, there may be the cop of the month. Then Alice Vitale said in his article that we have to articulate a different version of justice. We have this degraded notion of justice in the U.S. that's been reduced to punishment and revenge. We need to talk about justice as a strategy for creating safe communities that are healthy and sustainable that have a future, Vitale said. We can achieve that not by driving more people into the criminal justice system, not by chasing people around with guns, but by giving them a resource to solve their own problems. These are both very powerful statements. The police aren't exactly solving everyday neighborhood, and the system that has been in place is not working. Vitale talks about giving us a strategy that's safe for the community, and our own resources to solve our own problems. Perfect setup for the Neighborhood Watch program. In the essay, Kaba talks about how policing first started. Policing in the South emerged from slave patrols in the 1700s and 1800s that caught and returned runaway slaves in the North. The first municipal police departments in the mid-1800s helped quash labor strikes and riots against the rich. Everywhere they have suppressed marginalized populations to protect the status quo. Not many people know that, and honestly makes you question whether or not cops have your best interests as a minority, being that their initial job was to put us in harm's way, and not has changed much since then. Dwayne in his essay says to address homelessness, for instance, we do not invest in affordable housing or build public restrooms that will benefit us all. Rather, we use police that harass and arrest the homeless to solve the problem. They enforce multiple municipal bans on sleeping in cars or on the street, effectively making homeless people's lives illegal. Cutting police budgets and forcing those profits elsewhere can benefit the economy. In closing, I feel strongly that we should heavily defund the police in order to see a better return in both the economy, environment, and decrease on minorities losing their lives to police brutality. I think we can all agree that the minorities are dying at an alarming rate, and it's time to make a change now. What better time? Everything that is happening and its people in power, whether it's political power or corporate power, that say they care, want to help. So let's change it. It's time for a change. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.